Hi, my name is Chloe from grade 10, and this video will teach you how to get a mean from a data.
Mean, median, mode, and range are four kinds of averages. There are many averages in statistics, but these are, I think, the four most common and are certainly the four you are most likely to encounter in your pre-statistics courses if the topic comes up at all. The mean is the average you are used to, where you add up all the numbers and then divide by the number of numbers. The median is the middle value in the list of numbers. To find the median, your numbers have to be listed in numerical order from smallest to largest. So you may have to rewrite your list before you can find the median. The mode is the value that occurs most often. If no number in the list is repeated, then there's no mode for the list. And lastly, the range is the difference between the lowest and highest values. In this video, we are going to talk about how to calculate the mean of a group frequency table. So what we have here is the grades of students, and you can see the grade intervals of 42 to 49, 52, 59, so forth. 60 to 69 will be a D, 70 to 79 is to C, and this is a B. There's a thing less than a 60, it would be an F in most schools. The second column contains the frequency, so this tells us the number of students who score in this range. For instance, there are 6 students who got a D on the exam, 8 students who had a score between 80 and 89. So with this data, how can we calculate the average test score of the students in this class? Now, it's important to understand that we cannot compute an exact mean for the grades in this class, and the reason why that's the case is because we just don't know the individual data values in the data set. So therefore, we can estimate that mean we know is the mean is basically the sum of all the data values divided by the number of data items in the set. But for a grouped frequency table, the mean is gonna be something similar, but that equation will be modified a bit. It's gonna be the sum of the product of the frequency values times the midpoint, because we can't really use an individual score here since we have an interval. So the best ideal individual score would be the midpoint of each grade interval. So it's going to be the sum of the frequency times the midpoint divided by the sum of frequency values. So that's the formula that we'll need to use in order to calculate the mean. So let's take this one step at a time. Let's calculate the midpoint values. First, the midpoint is going to be the sum of the lower boundary of the interval plus the upper boundary of the interval divided by 2. So in the grade interval 42 to 49, the lower boundary will be 40 and the upper boundary will be 49 divided by 2. So we get 89 divided by 2, which is 44.5. So that's the midpoint for this interval. Now let's do the same thing for the next one. So the second point, midpoint, is going to be 50 plus 59 divided by 2. So that's 109 divided by 2, which is 54.5. At this point we can see next one is going to be the 74.5, 74.5, 89, 84.5, and 95. Now our next step is to take the sum of the frequency column. So this will give us this particular value which will help us to calculate the mean. So it's going to be 3 plus 5 plus 6 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7. So this tells us how many students are in the class. And so there's a total of 38 students in this class. Now the next thing we need to calculate is the sum of the frequency times the midpoint values. So we are going to do is multiply these two now. It might be easier to basically make an extra column. Yeah, and then some of those values, okay, that line is not that straight, so let's call this F times M. So what we are gonna do is multiply the frequency by the midpoint. So 3 times 44.5, and that's going to be 133.5, and 5 times 54.5, that will be 272.5, and 6 times 64.5, so it's 387, and 9 times 74.5, which is 670.5, and 8 times 84.5 is 676, and 7 times 95 is 665. So now let's take the sum of this column. So go ahead and add those numbers using the calculator. It will be total would be the 2,804.5. So now we can calculate the mean is going to be the sum of the FM values divided by the sum of the frequency values. So this right here, basically all of this correlates to this number, so that's 2,804.5, and then divided by the sum of the frequency values, which we have here, that's 38. So the answer will be 73.8. So the mean is 73.8, which is in the 72 to 79.